You don't know your actual limits until you hit the point where your identity panics. Your 40% may look like someone else's 90%, but that doesn't mean you should continue coasting by. It means you're someone who is capable of embracing a higher level of living, where your innate capacity allows you to experience things most people will only fantasize about. It's about you actively choosing to embrace a version of yourself who is able to sustain a higher baseline of experiences, which are directly influenced by what makes you unique as a human being. In this video, I'm going to shed light on how you can begin unlocking your true potential. I'm Justin Trinity, and welcome to Midnight Sanctuary, a home created for who we are and who we're becoming. Now, let's begin. Most people mistake panic and uncomfortability as an indication for genuine limitation, but that couldn't be further from the truth. What you're actually experiencing is a somatic and mental reaction to perceived limitation, meaning your nervous system is having a primal response in which it is interpreting the expansion of your identity as a literal threat. When that happens, your mind then proceeds to create a storyline that justifies the choice of staying small, all for the purpose of avoiding the feeling and state of being triggered. Think of the last time you hesitated before doing something that would help your future. That wasn't your limitation, that was your identity panicking. The irony of this process, though, is that the solution doesn't lie within the avoidance of uncomfortability, but instead within the acceptance of uncomfortability as the inevitable cost for growth. Like they say, no pain, no gains. Okay, so we're aware that living at a lower level of your potential feels comfortable, but if you feel called to live a life where you're fulfilled and playing a part of something bigger than yourself, then feeling comfortable just isn't going to cut it. That's because your sense of identity stabilizes at the lowest survivable baseline, not the highest sustainable one. But it's not your fault. You can't know what you don't know. Many of us have been raised or grown up around people who benefited from our smallness, but their comfort can't be the reason you limit your future. It's not your burden. If anything, it should be a very clear sign that it's time to move on and elevate. I mentioned earlier that your 40% may be their 90%, but you can be exceptional in a limiting environment and still be hiding. Because an eagle in a cage full of pigeons is still an eagle, and you need to fly. The first framework you can begin applying today is something I'll call the identity expansion loop. First, bring awareness to your moment of panic. When you begin to feel intense emotions from an internal or external trigger, simply bring your awareness and attention to the sensations you're experiencing. Second, reframe the sensation you're feeling as an expansion of your capacity for stimuli, not a threat. Third, you breathe, you pause, and you stay present. And lastly, repeat this process until your perceived limitations become your new normal. It's going to take some time, but eventually you'll wake up one day and you won't be triggered by the things that were affecting you so greatly in the past. Framework number 2 is the nervous system calibration, which goes hand in hand with the last framework. The purpose of this process is to teach your body that intensity is safe. You do that by making sure you're taking deeper breaths throughout the day, by making sure your posture is in a position where you can relax, so your emotions aren't being tensely held within your body. You practice it with mindful micro-exposure, such as exercise or incremental exposure to triggering experiences. You do it by closing energetic loops as much as possible in order to limit the amount of tabs that are open in your mind by finishing what you start. When intensity becomes normal, your capacity for life, your capacity for your dreams, your capacity for your perceived limitations, for what you believe is possible, the amount of stress you can handle, all these things begin to expand. The last framework I'll share is called the power audit. You begin implementing this by asking, which areas of my life am I operating at 40%? Which areas of my life need me to raise my standards? Is it your boundaries? Is it your relationships? Your communication skills? Or is it your capacity for self-love? It's important to remember that you must take your time with this process. Embracing your higher potential is like exercising a muscle. Some days you'll be called to test your limits. Other days you may be called to rest and take a step away from focusing on your becoming. But regardless, having grace for your individual journey is what will actually take you the distance. It's what will make your growth sustainable. Up until this point, you silence your potential so the world could stay comfortable. But just because your 40% reflects the standards of your environment, that doesn't mean that it's your true standard. Don't do yourself an injustice. Honor who you are and honor who you can become. Stop robbing the world of your gifts and of everything you can be. Your 40% may have gotten you this far, but it's not going to get you to where you're going. It's not enough. But that doesn't mean you as a person are not enough. It means you're being called to step into a version of yourself the world is waiting for. A version of yourself you're going to embrace more and more starting today. You don't become powerful because you were destined. You become powerful because you refuse to stay small. Choosing yourself creates the reality of being chosen. Leave a comment and let me know what commitments you're making in order to reclaim your inner power. Thank you for spending time with me. Stay awake, stay sovereign, and stay becoming.